Welcome back, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about the final chapter of the story of Michael Bast. But first I want to tell you about a guy who subscribed to the channel, and he went ahead and told me that he was looking for Mike Bast everywhere on YouTube and couldn't find it until I posted the videos right here. There's the rock right behind me. It's a beautiful rock, and we're going to talk about the final chapter of Michael Bast today. In part 3, we missed a little segment of Mike Bast, and that was actually the handicap racing at the Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. The money, because of Harry Oxley cutting the SRA, was very low for the handicap racing, and Mike said, I'm not going to do this. It's too dangerous. You know, the low yardage riders like me was in the way, and it was very dangerous for a highly skilled rider like Michael Bast to pass these guys for the money. And so he told Harry Oxley he was not going to ride the handicap race. And Harry Oxley said, no way, you will ride or I'll discontinue you. And it was a very big fight. And Mike Bast went ahead, and I guess he just tried half-heartedly because it was too dangerous and the money was too low in handicap racing. He won over 4,000 races in that time. 4,000. Many people wish they could win like 10 or 5, and Mike Bast won over 4,000. And like I say, he won 6 California state championships. Mike had a storybook career racing speedway of 18 years, 18 glorious years. And he went ahead and was just the master, the king of speedway for all those years. Even in the 80s, when Michael was getting a little older, he probably was very tired because racing speedway for 18 years is amazing. Ole Olsen raced for 17 years, and Michael Bast raced for 18 years. And Michael Bast was highly respected by all who knew him. Michael Bast, he said he was not the best racer of all time, but he was the smartest. When you race speedway, it's important to be smart. The best person in the throttle doesn't always win, but Michael Bast knew that being smart and using your brains, you win a lot of races. Mike was legendary. He was looked up by everyone who knew him. He was very famous, and he retired in the mid-80s at age 32. He probably had a few more good years left, but 18 years is probably long enough to race speedway. And he strapped on that boots and the steel shoe around 85, which was his last year of racing speedway. Mike Bast probably was winning mains up to the last day of his speedway days. Mike is a family man. He's been married to his wife, Deanne, for almost 50 years. And he has 3 children. One of them's a speedway rider. That's Ryan Bast. And he has a son named Shane and Kari. And he's just a great family guy. He coached baseball one time, and he told the guys, don't throw the ball real fast, but throw it real smart. You got to strike those guys out with your brains. And that's the way Michael Bast rode speedway. He raced and won with his brains, not his throttle. In 2016, Mike was put in the Trailblazers Hall of Fame, and he was in, I believe, the AMA Hall of Fame too. He better be. And Mike was just an amazing rider, and he deserved every credit and acclamation there is in the world. Mike is a smart man. He always uses his brains, and he invested in real estate very heavy, and that was going to be his retirement. But back in like 2007 or 2008, when the housing bubble burst, and Mike lost a lot of his houses, and things changed at that time. Because it was out of his control. Mike didn't do anything. So Mike had to actually go get a job. He had to work. And he went and started co-founded a construction business where they put up the awnings for houses. And while he was putting up his awnings with his sons, he had a stroke in about 2014 or 15, and he was rushed to the hospital. He had a blockage of blood to the brain, and it just caused him where he lost his motor skills. He could not walk, he could not talk, he needed therapy, and it was just a complete disaster for the champion, Michael Bast. That stroke was devastating on Mike and his family, but Mike is getting older now, so he should just probably collect his SS and retire. Michael Bast, even to this day, he has the heart of a champion. And even though he can't ride speedway now, in his mind, he relives his speedway days. All the great memories and all the great races. Michael Bast is still a champion. He walks by his trophy case, even after his stroke, almost every day, and he looks at all those many thousands of trophies that Michael Bast has won. And in his mind, he can still race speedway, but his body won't let him. But Michael Bast is just an amazing man, amazing human being, and we wish Michael Bast all the luck in the world. We wish Michael Bast and his whole family, his wife, Deanne, his children, we wish them all the best in the world. And thanks for all the memories. From Michael Bast as a young 13-year-old TT rider, to a 15-year-old speedway rider, to like a 17 or 18-year-old speedway champion. All those speedway championships in the 70s and all those great years, 18 great years of racing speedway. Thank you so much, Mike. We owe the world to you. There's more videos here of Michael Bast and other racers and all those wonderful years that Michael Bast gave us. We're so grateful, and thank you so much for watching the final chapter of Michael Bast's story. It's just amazing. I'm sad to see it end because I love this guy. He's really cool. So please like, share, subscribe, and always ring that bell.